Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to your Monday night slice of plastic crack. Season 4, episode 34. That's terrifying. Where is this year? Where's this year going? It's episode 34 already.
Everyone keeps talking about things in October and November, and it's like, that can't be yet. That's
No.
It's like 13 weeks to Christmas.
Shut up.
I realise
you're banned. You are so banned. It's unbelievable.
Just get rid of him. I'll be 40 next year, right? And then we'll be on season 5, which means I've spent an eighth of my life doing the PCP.
I was talking to Rich from the Lardis today on email, and I said, "Oh, yeah, been a while since you've been on." I realised it's 3 years.
It'll be 3 years since
he was on. He came in the middle of lockdown.
Do you think his internet connection's better?
I hope so. That definitely had COVID, that internet connection. Jeez.
Mind you, mine was a bit crap back then. Well, it wasn't my internet connection, it was my crappy laptop. So at least I can stream in, uninterrupted goodness these days. Anyway, welcome to your Monday night plastic crack podcast with up there, Martin Seven's son. Over there, Ken 3D Wargamer. So yeah, there we go. And
yeah, that's it.
Boots the table with Dom there. How is everybody this fine Monday evening?
I'm good.
That's not bad.
I'm just hoping the internet holds up for us all tonight.
I must say, actually, a big thank you for everyone who stuck with the stream last week through our whatever was going on across the internet. That was I think Simon held that together more than
I think he did.
Simon and I were the only ones who were here for the full duration. Everyone else just been out every now and again.
I don't know what happened with mine. Mine just dropped. Dom was just.
I don't know what was happening.
Dom was on 90s AOL dial-up.
I think I must have been. Jesus. He kept saying it was 50 megabytes per second, but it was not. Lies. And Ken just cut the cord or something. I don't know what he was doing.
So, big thank you to everybody that's watching on the catch-up. Only 3 minutes. 3 minutes in, and we're already thanking people for the catch-up. Don't forget, links to all our channels are in the description. If you like the stream, don't forget to hit the. I hate doing all this YouTube crap. It just annoys the hell out of me. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down.
It's worth it. Just
see Steve fall over himself doing it.
I feel like such a bloody millennial when I'm doing stuff like that. It really annoys me. Don't forget to check out the TikTok link. There's no TikTok link in the description. You're safe on that front.
PCP TikTok. I don't know what.
Oh, God.
That's not happening.
Is that going to happen at the Tiger Bar? We're going to do a TikTok dance.
Well, we've got to go to the Tudor Bar. Remember, we've got to go to the Tudor Bar.
Oh yes, true.
Oh yes.
TikTok in the Tudor Bar. I nearly had a bit. Actually, no, I can't actually talk about that. Damn it. Never mind. I'll tell you after the stream. Don't get me in trouble.
And don't forget, as always, we are sponsored by the Good Chaps. Oh yes, we'll get to that in a second. We're sponsored by the Good Chaps over at Boards and Swords Hobbies. You pop over there, you get and use the code PCP5 when you're checking out. You get an additional 5% discount on some already cracking discounts that Ian and the guys at Bash already festoon us with. So yeah, head over there for some gaming discounts. Yes. So let's see who we've got. Who's joined us on this fine Monday evening? Another Lee. Lee Verlander was the first one. He said A up. I think he's been Northern. I don't know whether Lee's Northern or not, but it was. Did
you appreciate it?
Oh, aye, A up. Ooh, that's how we greet each other. So we've got Digger Down Under, Mark Forsyth, Benjamin Christensen, Carl Burks, Paul Parker, Hammond Jam, me, Bicker City, Rich 999 Payden, Lionheart, Nick Games, Walkabout Games, John Salby, East Norfolk, Paul's Paint Shed. I know we like to know where Paul is from each week. He's from a particularly damp Mercia this week. But he's painting more Monmouth stuff.
I can't wait. Did you see his stuff?
Yes, it might be coming up later in the viewers' photographs. Stunning nice work from Paul, worth sticking around for. John's going for a bit of culture. He's currently listening to the Velvet Underground.
Good man.
Good man. That's probably a first one for the PCP, but there we go. You'd listen to some Gwar. I think Gwar is now the official band of the PCP. For some reason. We
haven't got a mascot, have we? Ken doesn't count. We need
Ken doesn't count now.
It's not a mascot, but we haven't got a mascot.
Maybe suggestions on what we should have as a mascot.
No, I mean after what the suggestions for the name of the ship, we almost got kicked off YouTube.
That's true, we did.
I think we should do a grotesque turnip. I think we should do an undead turnip. I think that would be perfect.
Undead turnip.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Here we go. Sashio's I've got the right frame of mind. I'll do. That's Northern. This is going funny again. Oh no, it's just done that thing. Wait, no. Carazette, Sachiel, John Sally, Red Steph, Rob Rose and Hobden, Andrew JF, Louis Baby, Rogue Trooper, Red Steph, Mobile and Hostel, Mike Jones, Glendoa, Friends General Haig, hello Andy, Duke Wellington, good day from Australia, Ian Wright, Double Dip, Storm of Steel. Hope Alex is back and enjoying himself. Did anyone see Alex in his fetching drummer outfit?
I did. Straight away thought of you.
Yes, everybody did. Everybody did. That's on top of Steve recommended. Did you see that book that Steve recommended to me? A history of military drumming.
I thought you were going to reach through the internet and strangle him with that one.
Word. I have no words for that. What else we got? John Clarkey. Hello, John. How are you? Welcome, Mewit. Speaking of devil, Steve is here. And again, coming up in the viewers' photograph, Steve has been working on some rather root vegetable-esque miniatures, but we'll get to that later on. David Baker, Cardboard Fortress. You win username of the night for Cardboard Fortress.
That is brilliant. Well done.
Because we all want one. I wish I could have a Cardboard Fortress. Dan Justin, hello from LA. Marky Sparky, Alan Dean, Stoic Steve, Simon Stokes, Sam Ferguson, Old School FRP. Hey, it sounds a bit familiar. Not Ben is from the Derby Cricket Travel Lodge.
Ooh.
Oh, you're right, Ben.
What's he doing? You're a few weeks too early, Ben.
I was going to say you're a bit early for that.
He's staking a claim in the bar. If we order our food now, it might be ready.
Yeah, Ben could order it for us, couldn't he? Be there when we're there. Fantastic.
Ben, be a pal. Ask for extra gherkins for me. They did it for me last time. They'll do it for me again. More success with Jonas. Hello, Jonas. What's he painting? 28mm French. Oh, that's not coming up in the news later by any chance, is it?
Look at. Sorry, Rich.
Daniel Moreno. Hello. Miller's here. Yes, John. It's a full house. For now.
For how long?
For how long is anybody's guess? We just don't know yet. Who else is here? Battlemat, Jack Todd. All from the Lake District.
Evening. Ooh.
I think Trash. Are you new, Trash? Is it the first time you've seen us or posted? Because I don't recognise the name. Lake District finishing. Converted World War II German bicycle platoon for ball taps. Chain of command. Top work, my friend. Top work. And here we go. A big good to hear from him. Leslie, it's great to hear you back, mate. Really, really good news.
Yeah. Welcome back, mate. Please.
Welcome back. Best wishes from everybody here. It's good to see you back posting again, mate. Really appreciate it. Shingles and Sprues, Leeds Pirate Painting. Matt is apparently painting Yorkist thugs through gritted teeth.
Excellent.
I can't say Yorkist anymore without it being followed by Yorkist thugs. I think Dom has got it ingrained into my brain or something. Gary Clark, Dirty Dog Hobbies. Matt Wright, Duncan Barker, Adam Kirtley. I think he's going to do that thing. Robin is here. John Carter, Rogue Trooper Mark. I think we're going to get to the bottom now. And there we are. Oh, it's Traj's second time visiting. Awesome stuff, mate.
Hello.
Really appreciate it.
Cool. He's a sucker for coming back twice, eh? Blimey. Most people.
So there we are.
Go, that's enough.
Third time, and we got you. That's
it. Once you're there, done.
Hopefully, the first time wasn't last week where everyone kept vanishing. It was just, like I say, it was dial up city last week. It really was.
Yeah. I do still have a fault with my broadband.
You should find a broadband engineer, mate.
Yeah, I'm Well, I am accredited now to work on their network, but I can't mention competitor.
Well, big thank you to everyone that has joined us on this Monday night. As you can see from the topic of the video, tonight's subject is rules light versus rules heavy. Yeah, this is. I've got a feeling this is going to be an interesting one.
Is this a light the touch paper and recede into the distance?
God, yeah.
I don't know. Or we're just going to find one really big consensus, and that'll be it. It'll be like just like, oh, okay, everyone.
What do we do for the next half hour?
So we'll just
I'll just go against the grain. Don't worry.
I was going to say, if Mr. Contrarianism there, we'll just whatever you say, he will go against it. So it's
True.
I want all my rule books to be the same size because then they're the same size on the shelf.
But to go along with the universal size basis.
Yes.
That was a hot take and a half. Right. What have we all been up to? Let's start with Martin. What have you been up to, mate?
Hello. Okay. I've done things. But I've also had a very busy week at work because we had a big open day in the BBC and an MP.
You get on the news, did you?
Huh? I did. No, they came back the next day. They came the next day. If you go on the BBC, there's going to be a thing on BBC Sounds for our site. But it's very cool because the site is really nice, with lots of finds on display. So yeah, you can if you have a look over on the BBC website, you'll find a nice article. That was cool because I had about 200 people turn up for an hour-long open day
Nice.
to show around. But I managed to chill out and get some bits done. So on top of editing. Like devil for trying to get this ECW game out that I got against Miller. I finished some Pilgrims, and if you saw the update I put out previously, these Pilgrims are from Reconquer Design. Surprise. And they are actually meant to be slingers, but I saw someone and I think it's on Instagram he's just called Paint All the Minis, and he had taken these slingers and he'd done some weapon swaps with them to make them more like pilgrims. So I thought that was a brilliant idea. So I've done the same, and then I added in a priest. So here they are. There's the pilgrims leading the made to go first, basically by the Crusaders. So the mounted again, I'm gonna get ready to drink. I have no alcohol, but yeah, get ready to drink. So of course these are all 3D prints. But the weapons are a mix of other 3D prints and ones from Victrix and Perry, and other ones I just kind of thought, this looks like a nice club, so I'll just do that. But yeah, they were quite good. Fun. They got a lot of character to them, and they look suitably ragged, like they've been crossing. But it's sort of in the games that we're playing, we've got some some rules for them so that they're a little bit fanatical, but then as soon as it all starts going wrong, they might not be the most eager to follow orders, and they just kind of get in the way. So so that's cool. And then I used this mounted priest, which I thought was just more because I did think about making him a command stand, but then I just thought no, I'll pop him in the unit because obviously you've got Peter the Hermit in the People's Crusade and then in the First Crusade, but they didn't really let him do anything. They just kind of made him go with them because they were sort of you caused a lot of problems here. We're going to make you come with us this time. And every time he tried to get out of something, they kind of dragged him along. So I don't know. There could be some rules in there if you're using Hail Caesar or something. I was thinking maybe it's almost like they're self-commanding in a way. I guess we could discuss this a little bit later, but almost like that unit has its own strategy, so it's not actually attached to a commander. You just roll to see, it's got a strategy rating of 7 and it does this, just to see what it, where it goes. But that was it. They were a lot of fun to do, and I just thought I'd just take the opportunity to do some photography. Then I also, because of crusade fodder, absolutely. The other cool thing about these is that they can, because there's quite a lot of companies now that do villagers or peasants, it wouldn't be too hard to just keep adding bases, because you just got to just chuck some on there. You could just do some monks and just chuck them into the rabble, and slowly it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, that was my thinking anyway. But obviously, Dom caused me a few issues.
Hang on.
Didn't desert the army. Yeah, so he led the People's Crusade, and then that went wrong when they were massacred by the Seljuks. Then he went back to Constantinople, and then the other crusade, the first crusade got there, and they basically dragged him along. And then he tried to desert, and essentially they just dragged him back by the scruff of his neck and just made him forward. He was very objectional, which is I think they had a few issues with him, but that was the difference, because he was like just this mad religious zealot who just convinced all these people to go on crusade. They went through Eastern Europe burning and massacring their, just pretty much anyone they found. Got to Constantinople, and the Byzantines couldn't get rid of them quick enough. They got sent into the Holy Land, and then they just got surrounded by a bunch of Turks and murdered. Which is no surprise then why Kilij Arslan thought, I'm going to beat the actual crusade when it turns up, which didn't go to plan. No. Anyway, as we know, Dom did that stupid. Can you use yes, and you could pop up in them as well. Maybe we could roll. If you roll double ones, the pilgrims explode. That would be a good one.
That sounds like something off Monty Python.
Doesn't it?
Holy hand grenade. Absolutely. I could chuck a on fire pig in there just to,
You're obsessed with on fire pigs, you are.
I love on fire pigs. Anyway, you've played Total War, haven't you? Where you send in the on fire pigs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
My mates, our little gaming club used to be called the Flaming Pigs. That was our club.
Yeah, the Flaming Pigs. That'd be a great. There goes our mascot, a flaming pig with a turnip.
Flaming pig.
Flaming pig with a turnip.
Like that.
Dom caused me problems with his stupid topic he did the other day, which automatically got me looking. I can't remember. I think I showed off some of the little 15mm guys I was looking on, and you might have seen them on the video that I did. But I finished my little test base. So here they are.
Hey.
Here they are.
There's just something. I don't know what it is, but they are.
They're so sweet.
Yeah, there you go. It's a bit of a. So that's how I've sort of done the base. I thought, do you know? And yeah, so
nice.
Yeah, screw you, Dom. This is. So I've got another base.
It's just a tiny bit of revenge. That's all I'm saying.
It's I've got, they're drying at the minute. What's really cool is every single one of those is individual sculpt. In fact, there are. Hang on, how many have I got on there? There's 16 on there. 19, 21, 22, 23,
they printed
27. I wasn't going to say it because I didn't want people to get hammered, but yes, they are. So they're printed, and but yeah, they're really nice. I've got I'm using flags from this company that I hadn't used before. Hang on a second, and I've already forgotten what they're called.
GMB.
No, because GMB doesn't make 15mm flags for the Barons War, annoyingly. They are from Ancient and Modern Army Supplies, PP Studio. And they are lovely little flags. So that is the banner of St. Edmunds, who was the patron saint. I just think I basically thought, well, instead of having like I'm doing in the Wars of the Roses, where I have specific unit commanders, because you don't really have, you do have Retuins at this period, but you don't really have these personal armies that build up like in the Wars of the Roses with bastard feudalism. You don't really sort of have that, because at this point, everyone is sort of technically serving the king, apart from the ones that rebel. So I decided to make lots of generic sort of English units, if you like, and scatter these fairly common flags throughout them, and then they can be used for either side. And I've sort of been inspired a little bit by what Dom's doing, and just the general colours of the 30 years war. I'll do a red regiment, a yellow regiment, and and I'll just have a few bases of guys in yellow, a few bases of guys in red, all carrying English flags, and then I'll drop in odd knights, which is what I've done on here. He's not anyone in particular. I just thought he'd look cool in white, just standing at the front. Vary a couple of shields, but try and keep them on a common sort of theme. But yeah, I like them. What do you reckon, cool. Steve? Because I know you like your Barons Warsy Plantagenet and stuff.
I do. Like I say, I've got a penchant for psychopathic families being nasty to each other.
Yeah.
No, but when you showed them unpainted, I just thought the scale them that there's just something a bit unique about them. I just thought they looked really, really nice.
Mm.
So you're blaming Dom, I'm blaming you.
Well, and shit rolls downhill, mate. What have we got here? Yes, it is FKMP 6. Yes, it is FKMP 6. I'm using a new AK. Well, I say it's not a new AK paste, but it's just called Dark Earth. But it's not like wet mud. This one dies and ever so slightly crackles and dries matte just a bit for dry earth, and then just a couple of pigments on it. But I'm really, really impressed by it. So there we go. If Ragged Staff Miniatures doesn't do a flaming pig set, I'll be disappointed. Oh, you've done it now. Oh, I've got so many little things that I want to do. I did send a list. But yeah, it's they've been good fun. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm finishing another base now. And I've also, after that, I've got some heavy cavalry for the Seljuks to do, because I need more cavalry. There you go. That's my very long update.
No, good mix, good mix of scales as well. I can't. Them little ones are really growing on me. They really are.
There's so many. There's peasants, longbowmen, Scots spears, English longbowmen, normal bowmen, crossbows, mercenary crossbows, knights, unarmored knights, cavalry, unarmored cavalry. You know, there's
in that scale.
Yeah.
Oh.
There are a lot, and there's they are from a company called 3D Breed, and because they've got that slight heroic look about them.
That's what I like about them, is that they've got that sort of chunkiness to them.
Exactly. I think it works well at 15. They do give you the option of doing them at 28, but I don't think. I mean, I haven't printed one at 28. I think they would be no. Because no one cares about pikes anymore. No one cares anymore about pikes. That's so
only rocket pikes.
22. But when you buy, because it was €60 for all of them, for every single class, I was like, okay, I'll just get that.
That's really good, actually.
But that also gave access to everything they're going to release for the next sort of 6 months to a year, pretty much, which includes casualties, generic commanders, buildings, siege equipment. Okay.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm safe. I haven't got a 3D printer, so it's all good. So I'm fine.
Well, as I mentioned,
I'm seeing you next week, and I do.
As I mentioned a couple of weeks back in the group chat, I am teetering towards that way. So Ken, I might be picking your brains at some point over the next couple of weeks, mate.
Yeah, don't just pick mine, pick mine.
And Martin's and Dom's.
Don't do it, mate. That's all I know.
What? I missed that. What
about me investing in a 3D printer at some point in the very near future?
Yeah, you can pick my mind.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just so many cool things out there that I just want to paint. So
it's all those French drummers. Which are now
think about never having to deal with Royal Mail ever again.
Oh my god!
No, he's still got to get his resin.
Yeah,
Uncle Jeff and his emporium of everything will provide me anything like that. So anyway, Ken, what have you been up to, mate? What have you been up to?
Okay, give me a second. Let me get my stuff up. Oh, come on, you stupid thing.
That's a childish laugh, Martin.
I'm sorry. I've had to be very, very serious because I've been around like reporters and MPs and things, and yeah.
Right.
I've been really looking forward to
Here we
tonight,
go.
I've got to say.
So this week, I finished my first unit at British.
He's done a thing. Whee!
Hey.
Ken,
They're not actually British. They're King's German Legion, but.
Are they 3D printed?
Of course they are.
Of course they are.
They're all
Are they peninsular? Yeah.
No, they're Waterloo campaign, aren't they? That looks like
they are.
Yeah.
Belgium.
Yeah, Waterloo. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm getting the wrong way around. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, peninsula's on the front, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll get it's quite it's pretty cool. So they're all unique models for the whole 24-man unit. There isn't the double there, which is really nice. So what I've done is this is the 1st Battalion in King's German Legion. I'm focusing on the 4th Division in the 2nd Corps, isn't it? 2nd Brigade. 2nd Brigade. Yeah.
You asking or telling?
No, I'm working it out. Yeah, second Brigade, 4th Division. Because I want to do the 95th, but I'm going to do 2 lots of them in line. Because I've got the 95th files as well. And I'm also going to do the 1st Battalion. Actually, do you know what? Fuck you. I actually did use some finger paints on these. I was going to bring it up in a minute. That green is a fucking shitty cheap emulsion. So yeah, there you go.
All right.
Now I'm lost. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the 95th. Yeah, I'm gonna paint some little green bastards. So I'm gonna do the 2nd and 3rd battalions in line, but then the 1st battalion I'm gonna do skirmishing. I've ordered some more flags. I've ordered them from Flags of War. So I've got the King's German Legion one. I've also ordered the 71st and the, I want to say 51st or 52nd. They're both light infantry. One's the Glasgow light infantry, which is basically these guys, the light infantry, but they've got like, I don't know what you would call it, but around the cap, there's like checkers, like red and white.
So they're one of the Highland brigades, basically.
Yeah, it's one of the
Highland
that's
battalions.
it. Yeah, that's it. So it's a Highland light infantry, and I've done another light infantry unit just because I've ordered the flags. But yeah, when you describe it, it's shitty green emulsion. You understand it. That's all right. Shitty green emulsion. That's fine.
It's a fair point, actually.
They are 28.
28 mil.
Yeah, they are 28 mil.
Lovely, mate. So, lovely work.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's, they've got different command. I've got different officers, obviously, and I've got different guys that could be holding the flags and stuff like that. And they're like I say, that's only 24, and I've got, how many is it? 72 different figures.
Wow.
Complete individuals. There's like 3 different drummers. So Steve, you'll be happy to know the drummer. I hid him for you, so don't panic.
I was going to say, somebody mentioned before there wasn't a drummer.
Yeah, he's there at the back behind the officer.
Right.
I've got him between where the 2 flags are going to go.
That's clever. He might not get a musket ball in the face.
Exactly. I felt sorry for him. So yeah, that's that unit. But at the moment, I'm printing out some more 3D prints, and these are the lifeguards I'm doing at the moment.
Oh, nice.
The heavy cavalry. I've got the blues and roars as well, but I'm doing the lifeguards first. Then I'll paint another infantry unit, and then I'll do probably the blues and roars, or maybe the King's Own Dragoons, because I want to, unlike my French, do a mix of stuff as I do it. So I've got a variety to play with instead of just having a load of infantry and then have to do a load of cannons and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, it's quite cool actually. I'm, like I say, actually finding these 3D files for Napoleonics, it's quite a game changer.
Who are they? Which company?
So there's a few different companies that are doing this. So these are Napoleonic STL. These ones. Mm-hmm. They do British, Hanoverian. They do some French. They do. Oh, it's going to come to me. No, begins with a W.
Württembergers.
Maybe.
Westphalian.
It might be Westphalian. It's very possible, but yeah, they do quite a few of those. But then I've bought some of the piano miniature stuff as well, which they've got a Kickstarter at the minute.
We will come on to
those. Fucking beautiful. That's all I'm going to say. If you want French, they're French. Oh my god, yes. So yeah, I've backed that. Yeah, Bavarians. That's it. Sorry, Bavarians. Yeah. I've got a load of Austrian. I've got shitloads basically. Any STL that's been done, I've bought. Can
I ask you a question? Yeah. And it is not an insult. I promise. Though, what is it about Napoleonics that gets you going so much? Because no offense, like you have blasted that out and they look amazing, but there's something about Napoleonics. I know you talked about it the other day, just saying like, you just enjoy doing your French. Is it just that period?
That style of warfare. Yeah, I think it's that style of warfare, to be fair. I quite like the lines and just the amount of figures you get per unit. So 24 figures in a unit. I quite like that. And I find the games quite tactical as well, especially like General d'Armée. I feel like you can be quite tactical with it. And even Black Powder, you can still be tactical if you've got a big enough table. I just find it fun, I guess. I like to have I guess I prefer just having a lot of figures on a table. Having a lot of figures. Like I was saying to you guys, when it'd be lovely to do massive Napoleonic game. And when we're saying massive, we're talking bigger than at CrackCon sort of size. Taking over Dom's whole shed.
Well, we got a game this Sunday, haven't we, Dom?
Yeah, we have. Big.
You're coming down here, aren't you?
Naptember, is it called? Yeah,
nice. Naptober, or Napoleonics out east, where which Gwindor is hosting. You're coming down my way.
Coming down your manor.
Yeah.
Anybody's welcome, of course, if they want to join.
Yeah. Go and take a look. And if you're watching it, mate, stick a link up in the chat now, if you can. Right now, no. Right now.
Do it now. I'll tell you one thing I did like about these though is because you inspired me with the British side of things, the Hanoverians actually having the different Hanoverian regiments to actually with the proper uniforms. So like the Jaegers, the STL files come with the Jaegers, they come with the Landwehr, and they come with the Line, and they come with the Light. So you got it all. So it's nice to actually have. Well, they don't really get a massive representation in plastic, do they? The Hanoverians. I can't think of
any. Warlord do them, but they've just got forage.
They only do them they just do them in the forge caps, don't they? But these have got the proper uniforms. They're like, I mean, everything is buttons where I know it's button counting, but the uniforms are right. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose, and I get, we're going down a different route here, but that's one of the beauties, I guess, of the 3D printing. Stuff is obviously very easy to. I don't know, it's not easy, but yeah.
Yeah, if you get someone that's passionate about Napoleonics or passionate about ancients, like ancient Greece, and like that's their passion project, and they just bash out STLs and they're really good quality. It's like those piano miniatures, the French on there. I just want to die. They're so good.
I was scrolling through that and
things happen. It's not even funny, is it? I'm like, just take my money and I'll.
Generals are extraordinary.
Yeah, they're so nice.
I was just thinking, if you get it, can you just send me the file for the drummer and we can just keep printing one off a week and sending it to Steve in the post. Just keep setting a drummer a week. Just keep sending them at varying scales. Just keep going.
Yeah.
How big could you blow it up to? Wouldn't that be brilliant? A 54
as big as your printer goes, sir. As big as you want it.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was me. So nice. That's my.
Well done.
That's my.
That's cool.
It's good to see you back on the wagon, mate.
Yeah. Should I do some 95th? What should I do next after this? Should I do some 95th?
Are you doing them as 95th or as the King's German Legion lights that were in La Haison?
No, these ones are actually the 1st Battalion King Germany's. I've got 95th Rifles files as well. So I've got 18.
Oh, okay.
Now I've got the files for the 95th Rifles. Who are the other ones? I want to say 72nd. It's not, is it? 54?
Rifles. The Rifles.
The Americans.
60th.
60th,
that's it. Yeah, what colour did they have?
Red.
Not black. Red.
They were red.
Red cuffs. I might even just do them because no one ever does them. Just because.
I've got a battalion of them.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying. That doesn't surprise anyone, Dom.
No, that really doesn't.
I do use them in line, though, rather than in skirmish. So, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Speaking of which, Dom, what have you been up
to? Gaming and painting wise, absolutely diddly squat, mate. Absolutely.
Blimey.
Well, I was in Ludlow last week, so I did nothing.
Yeah.
I did carry on with my romantic interlude around the castles of.
Yes, I was enjoying that.
There you go. Yeah, so you'll be pleased to know, Mrs. Cook and I had a wonderful time going around castles. I think we've done about 6 so far. So, really, really good. Some bloody
Because you're
big
cream
castle
tea
down
every
there.
time you do that.
Do you know what? She
Because-
loves a castle, does Elaine? She really does. It did cost me a fair bit, to be honst. But there you go. There's 3 of them.
Good old keeping English heritage going there, are you?
Yeah, actually, all those are Welsh heritage, to be honest. Those 3.
That's a very good point, actually. That's a really good point.
Yeah, they're all Welsh.
Are they all Edward I castles?
Yeah, they're all Marcher. Yeah. Well, all these are from Marcher period, so they're from Norman through to through quite till about
when he got a little bit upset with the Welsh.
Well, actually, no, some of them even go through to the War of the Roses and beyond in the English Civil War.
I did.
Well, that one I was saying, Croft.
Effigy.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So I did go to this castle. I got Martin very excited about Richard Croft, wasn't it? Richard Croft.
Yeah.
And went to his house, which is called Croft Castle, bizarrely. But it isn't a castle anymore. It's just a manor house because he apparently one of his successors pulled the castle down because he was a royalist and the parliamentarians were going to capture it and he didn't want that to happen. So he'd rather pull down his castle so they couldn't get it. So they then rebuilt it later on as just a manor house using a lot of the stones. But this guy who was, well, you know that you tell me the history. I can't remember the whole history of him, but he was at Mortimer's Cross and Tewkesbury. He captured the king's son, didn't he?
Yes, if you go with that version of the story that Edward of Westminster was captured and then killed in front of Edward, probably I would have a bet he probably dragged his corpse to Edward.
Probably.
But he was an MP, and also he was essentially one of the. So you had he basically was just one of the key Welsh players, not quite as big as say Herbert or Vaughan, but there was this whole sort of Welsh contingent, especially under the Yorkists, and he was quality. He had loads of, and he didn't die brutally either. He died fairly. Well,
I didn't know the history of him at all until I saw the little plaque and then sent you a picture of it, and you told me everything.
He wasn't hacked limb from limb, or
no. Well, that's what I thought. He was at Mortimer's Cross, Tewkesbury. He was heavily involved in the whole thing, and he survived. I thought, bloody hell, that's unusual. This is his tomb.
He died quite old as well. He died. Yeah, he was like 85 or something like that. He was. He died.
He didn't get gout
just old, and I don't know if he was happy, but he was old.
Old.
I'd just be happy if it got that far. Yeah.
I was going to say, surviving anything like that and getting to 85, I'd be pretty happy that I still had all my limbs intact.
I mean, if you actually think about it, hang on a minute, Karen, hang on. He went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although 2 of them were technically the same because they kept on changing. You know, Edward was king, then Henry was king, then Edward was king, then you know.
There you go. See, you can see why Mrs. C loved all this. It was just, I was telling her all about this. She was very excited.
He doesn't look too happy. Died intact with all genitalia in the right place. That's all any of us want, John. That's all any of us want.
Pretty much everything, isn't it?
I think most people at that period would have given anything for that. Poor old Simon. Poor old
Simon de Montfort. Poor old Simon.
Oh, Jesus. What about you then, Steve? What you been up to, mate?
Weird stuff.
So quick. We need a health warning now.
When's it not weird stuff?
I've been painting them.
Oof.
I
do love that green.
They were a nightmare. They are built from 3 different Plastic Games Workshop kits. And I don't know. I like the models, but I hated painting them. I couldn't. And see that guy with the sword? That sword fell off about 25 times while I was painting it.
That must have been frustrating, Steve.
It was bloody annoying. So they're another war band for the Doomed. But yeah, I really enjoyed putting them together. Not so much painting them, but what I've been painting for the past 6 days. Remember, I bought all that Necromunda terrain to use for Space Widows. Yeah. So this is the game I'm running at CrackCon, and I'll be bringing this with me. So I don't like painting scenery. I hate it. I despise it, and I've been putting it off for ages. But last week I thought, right, I've got to get it done. I've got to make a start. CrackCon's 5 weeks. I want to have it all done and dusted for CrackCon. And 6 days later, I've virtually finished it.
Oh,
nice. So I started. This is my test piece.
Oh, I like that, Steve.
I
I like
like
that green.
Yeah. Oh, that is really nice, mate.
And that took. I now time painting in albums, so that took 2 Metallica albums to paint.
Which albums?
And Justice for All and Master of Puppets.
Oh, okay, that's okay then.
Good.
Yes. At least it wasn't bloody Saint Anger.
I was about to say, was it Saint Anger?
Wasn't Saint Anger. Saint Anger no longer troubles me, or anything I will listen to. I'd be a bit worried if that was like your dentist, Benjamin. I really would. So that was my testing. And do you know what? There wasn't a single spray can used on that. That is all hand painted and dry brushed. I bought a whacking great big jar of black acrylic paint, and I used the fattest paintbrush I've got, and that was it. Then after that, it was just silver and bronze dry brushed on very heavily with makeup brushes. Best hobby tools I've bought this year was an entire set of women's makeup brushes for dry brushing. Absolutely brilliant. And after that, then it was just paint to give it the green and the rust look. But after that, so this is a few more. So that's a bit more of it.
It's really good.
Yeah,
really
actually
how do
you get those green stains, Steve? Is that sponge? Is it?
No, what I use airbrush paint, but don't airbrush it on. Just mix them together. Then I've got this really old, like quite stiff bristled. So I don't dry brush it. I just stipple it over, and it dries. It dries because it's airbrush paint is quite thin. It dries a bit translucent. It's not fully. It's not fully sort of thick. So it dries like that. You've still got the original bronze coming through. But yesterday I finished the entire lot. So there's a test set up there.
I absolutely love that.
That is brilliant.
That is absolutely fantastic, mate.
That didn't take you very long either.
So many games you can play on that as well. That really does look cool. Nice one. I mean, I could do RPGs on that as well. I mean, that would be perfect for Star Wars Legion as well. And
yeah, and that's only a 2 foot by 2 foot board there. So it's mostly done. All I've got to do now is I've got a bit of scatter to do. So I've got some barricades, some pipes, and the likes. Cheers, mate. But I think I do. £6 for about 14 of them. It was brilliant. But tomorrow I'm going to attempt to add light to it. It's going to be fully lit.
What, like LEDs?
Nice.
LEDs, yeah.
Oh, awesome, mate! Look forward to that.
Yeah, I want to play your game.
What are you playing?
I have no idea.
No, because you do.
That's what we all ask every week. What are you playing at, Ken?
I have no idea.
Jeez. If you sent everybody crumpled up, it would have been. It would have been. It would probably. In fact, the noise would have probably resembled Lars's drums through that album. It was that tinny. Tell you what, it's the next day when I was probably painting, I found out that being a fan of like thrash metal is good for dry brushing. You really get in because the next night I was listening to Arise by Sepultura. And it works really well. So it's music works for dry brushing.
That is a good album.
Is it Craft? It's this weird. It's artistic studio acrylic. And it's quite thick. It's quite viscous, and it's got like it dries with an odd texture. It's not rough, but it gives it. It was what I wanted. The look that I wanted, because it gives it a sort of a grungy, grimy look. But yeah, no washes, just all dry brushing. So it's
really nice.
I was
really
quite
good.
chuffed with that. But yeah, the lighting part's sort of a last minute thing. Because I've watched a few videos on YouTube. And there's a guy that's done it really well, and I've ripped him off hook, line, and sinker. So the things are hopefully arriving tomorrow, and I'm hopefully have that done by the weekend.
Did you order them from a model train supplier?
No. No, I've not got a spare kidney.
I make mine up, to be fair. I sold all mine. So, yeah, it's pretty cheap if you do it on this like that.
Yeah, thanks, George. I really wanted just a sort of a not monotone, but a couple of colours, and that's it, to give it a really grungy, dark look. And I literally came across that combination by complete happenstance. It was just a complete error. I wasn't really planning on doing that, but that's how it turned out. So I was really, really quite chuffed.
Everyone's been very productive.
I would. That's painting that scenery. I've been putting it off for ages because I don't like painting scenery. I thought it was going to take me weeks and weeks to do. But no, 6 days, mostly done. I've proper chop my progress, and yeah, it will all be winging its way to Derby with me to play Space Weirdos. Now that's a great segue into tonight's subject. Right, rules light versus rules heavy. You go up to it with play tennis's drum kit was too noisy. Yeah, Saint Anger. That was definitely a bit too noisy on that album. Although the snare on And Justice for All is a bit tight as well. But I digress.
Yes, we'll discuss. I have someone else to ask you later about that.
So, rules light versus rules heavy. Now, this is something that I was talking to my mate about this a couple of weeks back, and I noticed, we were just talking about rule sets, what we're going to get into, any games we were planning. And I noticed that a lot of the rules that I've bought sort of over the past 12, 18 months are what you deem, excuse me, as rules light. So my take on rules light is where the rules are light, that they don't take up an entire rule book. So you're not breaking your back carrying a 150-page rule book everywhere. And the pinnacle for this is this. That's Space Weirdos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this whole rule set in A5 is 15 pages long. And of those 15 pages, 7 are the rules. So 7 sides of A5 are the rules. And then I got to think about the Doomed as well. That's a very, very recent game. And one of the game's major points is just how rules light it is. You roll against one stat. That's it. Everything is one stat. It's called quality. There's only ever one modifier. You can only ever add what +1 or -1 to a roll. But what it does, it aims to have sort of I hate the expression, but Hollywood type game experience. So it's fast movement. You don't even use tape measures in it. You just say that chap's moving there and he's going to move. You don't measure. You don't measure for weapons. Everything is just based on one roll. And it got me thinking: is that where gaming's going? Is that what a lot of companies are going to be aiming for moving forward? Rules light or streamlined rules? Because then it got me thinking about what else we've picked up, and I thought the Rampant series, so Xenos Rampant and Lion Rampant, not exactly what you'd call overly complex, massive amounts of rules. Same with Pikeman's Lament as well. There's not an awful lot of rules in there. So is that where a lot of companies are going to be headed moving forward?
What do you reckon?
I think it's horses for courses myself. I think some games. So I think you'd be hard pressed to play a really light. Well, actually, I'm just about to contradict myself entirely now, so I'll scrap that. Somebody else talk. I'm just thinking. I think my argument through properly.
I think a lot of companies are producing stuff like that because it's very popular at the moment. With because everyone's very busy and there's been quite a bit of a surge in them. So I think companies are producing those games because they're popular. Mm-hmm. If that's what you mean. There are a couple of companies who produce lighter versions of their core rules, such as Impetus. You get Impetus, and then I can't remember what the light. It's not called Impetus Light, I don't think. But there's two light versions of it. There's like a light version and a denser version. I can see why companies do it, because they can then cater to those people who want to have these quick games and have a light rules, digestible rule set, and then they also then have their solid, if you like, their big core games as well. A good example of that is what's happened with By Fire and Sword. They're now releasing their second edition, and they've purposefully they've rewritten the whole system, which used to be this quite cumbersome, massive, which I love, book. And they've gone for something a little bit more sort of faster, completely, I would say lighter. But basic impetus, there you go. Not impetus light, basic impetus, might as well just be impetus light. Yeah, so in just response to that, yes, I think companies will produce them because they are popular. Because there is a whole market of people there who do want to game that way.
And the beauty of light rules is generally it's a quicker game, isn't it? And you can get a game in a couple of hours down a club or in the shop or whatever, you're playing around your mate's house or whatever. Whereas a rules heavy game tends to go longer and can take a lot longer.
Depends what your situation is at the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've noticed as well. My tolerance for longer games is getting less and less. So the last time I played Bolt Action, it was a good 3.5 hour game, and by sort of turn 6, I was checking out because it's too long. And I never used to be like that. I used to like, quite a long game. We used to play 40k a lot. The games were quite long. But as I'm getting older, and I'd rather not have a game last that long. So when we used to play X-Wing, our time limit, perfect. You ended on the 60 minutes. It was good. Space Weirdos, you never gave me Space Weirdos in half an hour.
I think the problem with that for me, is thinking that through. It does create a false finale to the game if you're playing that way, which sort of works for some games. But if you're playing a historical game or a scenario or something like that, it does tend to be like, well, last turn's coming. I'm going to have a quick dive for that objective. Make sure I hold it. I'm going last.
Yeah.
Which does create a bit of a silly game in some ways. Now, it can be great fun because some seriously stupid things happen generally when that happens, Martin. I'm just saying, I just know I've seen your games, mate. I don't know. I personally, I don't find them terribly satisfying, but they can be tremendous fun, if you see what I mean. Does that make sense? Is that completely?
Yeah.
No, I mean, so someone said to you, okay, we're gonna have a 100% historically accurate game, but we've got 90 minutes to play it. Wouldn't work.
No, I don't think. Well, you could do a 0-200 or a skirmish game or something.
Oh no, I'm talking.
But a proper game, no.
Yeah, Napoleonics, ECW, something like that. You couldn't do that. I think.
Although in the back of my head, I'm now thinking, well, the Perrys have brought out that V and
exactly,
which is supposed to be like that. I haven't played
it yet.
To be,
yeah.
Couple of hours for a decent sized game. So maybe.
I mean, why do you think that is then? Why do you think that they, when they chose? So I know it was the Perrys and Jervis Johnson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think they purposely set out to write a sort of a streamlined game, a streamlined set of rules that you could use for big battles? Or
that seemed to have been what they intended from when you read about it. They just, for some reason, they didn't see Black Powder as being quick enough, so they brought out that one. It streamlined it even further to do that. But it is specifically designed to play a game in 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah, Andy's just put there about it. Very, very quick once you're used to it.
Yes.
Valor and Fortitude.
Like my favorite, like one of my favorite sets, Lion Rampant.
Again,
yeah.
When I was painting up those Lion Rampant last year, I was reading the rule book. I don't know why, but I'd always got it into my head because I'd never seen any Lion Rampant sort of bat reps, and I got it into my head. It was quite a wieldy rule set. And then when I sat down and read it, I was like, it really isn't. It's really quite swift. And then when I picked up Xenos Rampant, it was like, this is just the same. And Xenos Rampant is a really fast-paced game.
So this is the funny thing, which is I like Xenos Rampant, but don't like Lion Rampant and don't like Dragon Rampant. Because I think Xenos Rampant, but this is just me, it's my personal take. I find Xenos Rampant, those rules lend themselves. I think that rule set and that way of working works really well with sci-fi.
Yeah.
With sci-fi, for me, when I was playing, I played Lion Rampant. I've played it with the Wars of the Roses. Swiftly will never be doing it again. And I've played it using Dark Age stuff, and I just didn't find, for me personally, that I think it's fun. It's not even about crunch. There's nothing about crunch. It just doesn't do it for me. I think
I have a similar thing with it. I don't like. I read the rules and I thought, I'm not going to like this. I thought, I think Alex down the club persuaded me to have a game.
Yeah.
And I've had about 4 games and I've absolutely loved the games. I still don't really like the system.
No,
but I like the games. It's just bizarre. We've had some,
but that's the difference,
games.
Isn't it? You say, it's quick and fun, or again, because we're getting into this sort of idea of, just because you want a system that reflects warfare of that period, that makes you more granular and crunchy. Well, no, it doesn't, because you can have systems that reflect that period of warfare, and that's why you have games. So things like Chain of Command, By Fire and Sword, the Kingdom of Ours, that really zero in on a certain period, so they can get that feel across. And those games aren't. I'd still argue, they are good, and they do kind of fit this somewhere in between. And I feel the same way about Saga. I don't feel that it's suitable for certain periods of warfare. I think it excels at the Dark Ages personally, and this idea of heroes and things like that. But I do understand the need and desire, because sometimes people just want to paint up some knights and play with them. I completely get that. They don't really care about how warfare works. But at the same time, I've played some very, very granular sets of medieval rules, and I'll never go near them. I think sort of finding something in the middle and then adapting it to your needs is sort of where I'm at. But that game of Lion Rampant I played was one of the most excruciating experiences of my entire life, my gaming life. And that was, and the person I was playing against felt the same. We sort of sat there, looked. It's a bit like Dom. You didn't get on with Bill Hooks, did you?
No.
And people rate. I've played Bill Hooks, and I don't think I had quite as bad as I have Bill Hooks, but at the scale I want to do things to the Wars of the Roses, Bill Hooks doesn't. There are people who have played it, the stuff I've got, but it just doesn't do it for me. And it's just how we are all as individuals to find complexity. I personally don't. Don't get me wrong. I did look at the 40k rulebook in the shop the other day and was like, Jesus Christ, what do I do? That's
streamlined.
I was going to say that was So as far as I know, over the years, 40k is getting more and more streamlined with every release. Is that not the case, or is it just
rulebook's still like that big?
Yeah, no, they've always had big rule books. I remember for me, second edition 40k was going from Rogue Trader 40k first edition to second edition 40k. I don't know. It was like someone else, because the original 40k rules are just mad, completely mad, and they were
great.
I know they're great, but they're all over the place. But second edition was a lot more focused in what they wanted to achieve with that.
Yeah, it's got sorry, just see some of the comments. It's got some, as far as I understand it, yes, I think there's I hate this word, streamlining involved in it, but there's still quite a lot of statistics to take into account for each. If you've got a profile with 10 different statistics on it, I wouldn't necessarily call that streamlined.
No,
because that's 10 different sections that you've got to, like you would say, Space Weirdos, there's one.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. See, also I would say is this whole stream. So coming from old games that I remember playing, that was so table heavy, crunching numbers. You had to stats for everything. That was proper heavy games. You don't really see them anymore. I'm sure some people still die hard playing them because, they gave a good game, but you'd need to give up a week of your life to play one battle. But then you look at something like General Darmay, maybe, or Pickett's Charge. They're they kind of fall in the middle because once you know the rules really well, you need a 4 to do that. It's a baseline 4 or whatever it may be for the rule system. And then it's only when you need to look up those little extra bits, like what happens in this scenario, that slows the game down. So I'd still call them streamline, but they're not kind of in that proper definition of, like you're saying, a 2-page set of rules, or the V and Valor and Fortitude, which is 4 pages, isn't it? Although very small type to make it 4 pages.
Do you find that if a game comes out and you have a situation to resolve, and obviously you can't have it, you'll never have every situation explicitly detailed or what will happen to it. But if you're looking up, for example, something like I don't know, how do you do feigned flight or evades or things like that, and you don't have that, you end up making up a rule anyway. So you start adding additional bloat to things. Anyway, they're just leaving it up to you.
Exactly. That's true. And even when more complicated rule sets, you end up doing that, don't you? Because you sort of scurry through the book for a while, can't find it, go, well, let's just roll for it. 1, 2, 3, you do it. 4, 5, 6, you don't, and everyone agrees, and that's fine. But then you go back and read the rule and find out what you should have done. So
Do you
I
think
a
lot of this as well is it? There seems to be another thing we're talking about. There's definitely an emphasis these days on miniature agnostic games. So take what you've already got. Here's our rules. You've already got the figures to play with it. Knock yourself out. There's loads of games like that. A lot of the Osprey games like that. So Zona Alpha it is like that. You don't need figures. That Space Weirdos, absolutely sword weirdos. The Doomed encourages kit bashing. So I think it's very rare these days that a company will A, produce rules, and B, a figure range to go with it. I think a lot of the studios are either producing figures knowing there's going to be a rule set out there for those figures, or they're producing rules knowing that people are going to use their own figures anyway. Which, for me, I can mention, I'm looking for smaller games these days. I know Robin mentioned in the chat before about does rules light or naturally veer towards skirmish games?
Yeah.
Yes, but there are some notable exceptions that I think are awesome, such as Operation Squad. I would not call that rules light.
No, that's not rules.
No. But I love it. But I think it's a brilliant representation of that type of warfare. I would argue that it's better at that than other skirmish games of the same size and same type. Because you're not just running across the street and like, oh, you save on a 4 and you get across. No, you're like, you are dead. You go across there, you take into account all its cover, how far it's very pernickety, and that's a skirmish game.
Yeah.
So
But do you think it's our fault really in the fact that we're all rule butterflies and period butterflies? We never stick on a rule set for very long, and if we do, we'll change it in some way. Whereas if you played the same rule set over and over and over again, you get to know them. You get to know them inside out. You never need to refer to them, the rules, except in absolutely exceptional circumstance, or somebody comes into your gaming circle you've never gamed with and they have a slightly different interpretation. But there was never a question whether it was light or heavy. It didn't matter. You knew the rules, so you just played it through. Now, because 1 week you're playing Blind Rampant, then you're playing Xenos Rampant, then you're playing Bolt Action, then you're playing. You can never. I can never remember the rules. Maybe I'm just tweeting for myself. I just remember when I used to play WRG rules, I knew them all, even down to knowing the tables and whatever the hits were. Just because we played it all the time, and that was quite a complicated system.
There is greater variety, I'd say. I mean, I'd say that I know the Hail Caesar Black Powder systems pretty well. Like, I think I could comfortably run a game without looking at the books, but I know that there are things that I would get wrong, mainly around the sort of sort of, the
Army
special
rules.
characteristics.
Mhm.
But then there are some key differences between the games, especially between Hail Caesar and the other two.
That's what confuses me. I think I thought I
Yeah.
knew that, and then I suddenly realised I'm playing a mixture of Hail Caesar and Black Powder.
There's a rule I realised we got wrong for our entire campaign last time, and that's only because in the latest rulebook they just decided to give it its own section. It was always in the other rules, it was just buried. But I used to be like that with 40k. I used to be able to play 40k, and you say strength 8, toughness 3. What do you need? It's like, it's this, or the other way around. You need a 6 followed by a 5, or something like that. But 4 up if unvulnerable save. Or it used to be, and it is. You just play those. But I think as we become older and you see a wider variety of games, you take on more rule sets.
Mm-hmm.
You want to play more things. Yes, you're right. This week we're playing Hail Caesar. Tomorrow we're playing, I don't know, Xenos Rampant, because the other two I don't want to. I've got Days of Vault up there, which I've had to skim through, but I can't remember anything about it. That's a Jervis Johnson. No, it's not. It's Alessio, isn't it? That one. I've got to. I can't tell you anything about that system, but I've read it. I've read it.
I was like, I remember I sat down when I first bought Silver Bayonet, and I read the rule book. I can't remember. I mean, it's got to be 2 years ago since I bought those. I can't tell you a thing about the game. I really can't. Even though I read the rules, nothing really stuck.
Isn't until you had a game or two that it does really. Anyway, does it? I find.
I know, yeah. I can't remember a single thing about them. I know that they've released quite a few new supplements for Silver Bayonet as well. I was really excited. I was really excited about that when it came out, and it just fizzled out for me. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, same. When I realised nobody was going to play with it down the club, that's when it
no one will play with me.
Nobody will play with me. It's not fair, and it's not a solo game, really.
It is interesting. I mean, for someone who likes tinkering with rules, and I've got some sort of rules that we play test, and not the idea of is this going to be too much, a roll followed by a roll followed by another roll to see if something dies, or do you just have one roll to determine it? It is something that's interesting, and it's you can be interesting when you're playing games. So I really want to play Soldiers of Napoleon. I'm desperate to play that. I've just got to fit it in, and I love the resolution systems in that because it seems to give you a lot more tactical choice about the way that you're basically told you have shock on a unit, and you can get rid of shock by basically removing people as casualties. So your units get smaller, but the unit kind of stays a little bit effective, as it were. However, you leave the shock on them and the unit stays large, but it's like, I mean, that's probably again, I've read the rules, but I haven't played it yet. But I like those ideas. You see, that game doesn't seem, I would say, over the top in depth, but certainly seems to have a lot of flavor for the period in it. And still being mass battle. I think that's what he was, going for when he was playing it at CrackCon. He's on a 6x4, and they had a good looking Napoleonic battle in a couple of hours, and it looked awesome.
It did.
Like I said, for me though, it's just I don't know whether it's a something of unconsciously done is move towards the smaller. I mean, for me, Space Weirdos is ideal for me. You can play it on a small board. There's between 8 to 10 figures on the table at any one time. The rules, once they go in, you've pretty much learnt them. There's very few tokens. There's the measuring simple. It all boils down. And I think to capture all of that in a 15-page A5 book, it's
pretty good.
It just works. It really does.
It does for that. But so, for example, Ken, you're painting up all these British, right? And you got all those French. How would you feel if they were, each unit just basically just had one stat? You've done all that work, all these hours and hours, and I know it's the comments in like this, all of these hours and hours and hours of painting boiled down to a few pages with one stat. You see, and it just appears to different styles of gaming. Yeah. If you've got, again, if I've spent all my time painting these massive units, I want them to stay on the board. I want them on the board, and I want them to be doing things. I want all my pretty little figures to. I want to be adding figures to the board in casual. That's kind of how I feel about it. And again, doesn't mean that's right, but you don't. Again, I think it would be quite. I'd be quite depressed if after painting like 800 models, that the game was over in half an hour to 45 minutes. Because that's not why I play a mass battle game, because I want to play a mass battle. That's it. I want a big battle where it goes one way and then halfway through the game someone swings it back the other way, and then you're constantly fighting over it. Whereas if I'm playing skirmish games or smaller things, then I'm absolutely fine for something we can play, like Dead Man's Hand. Love it. You just fire, things can be over in 3 dice rolls very quickly, and then you sort of whack into the next scenario and go from there, because that's the type of game that it is and what they're trying to evoke. But yeah, if I played a mass combat game, mass battle system, and then I was packing my army up 45 minutes later, I'd be quite cheesed off.
Be a bit frustrating, yeah.
So you think that's an interesting point then? So do you think the investment that you put into the hobby side, do you think that should be reflected in the rules that you're going to be using those figures for?
Well, I guess a little bit. If you're playing a game that costs you quite a lot of money in figures and scenery, and take Saga for example, where you need dice. Okay, you don't have to buy the dice. We know that you buy the rule book, then you buy the supplement book, then you buy the dice, and then you get the figures. That's still for a skirmish, which is still technically, I would say, a skirmish game, even though it's about 50 models. That's that's still a decent sized investment. I'd want to see it reflected in some kind of the amount of time that you play a game. Definitely, I want to go to if I arrange a game against somebody, or I have someone over, I don't want it to be over that quick. Obviously you can change rules to make sure that you're not, and you can, but then you're doing that thing like, well, I'm adding my own house rules. If you take it just at face value, I like having substance. That doesn't mean I don't like those other games, but if I've invested that much money in a game, and that much, it's not really money, it's time. It's that much time, and time is what's precious. And I think that's why we have the lighter rule sets. Is time is a commodity, and some people don't have the time to paint up thousands of figures for a project, and then just to play a game where they're off the table in 10 minutes. I think I wanted at the end. I know what I mean. I don't know if I've explained that very well.
No, I know what you mean. But I'm definitely veering towards the sort of the shorter, fast-paced Hollywood style gaming. I hate that phrase, by the way, Hollywood style. It pisses me off, but it's the best we know. Like an action film. We've got just like non-stop action. That's what I love about Space Weirdos is that there's no fannying around. There's no let's try and let's do an outflanking maneuver. No, you just take do 2 sticks of movement and shoot them in the face. That's the type of gaming that I want to play. Years ago I probably wouldn't like that. I did prefer bigger games.
What you described there would frustrate the heck out of me, Steve.
Really?
Yeah. If I was having a few beers and having a laugh, then maybe that might be amusing, because I find that with something like Dead Man's Hand. But
yeah,
if it's like literally to just run up and shoot somebody, that just like, well, what's the point of that then?
See, the good thing about Space Weirdos though is that even if you hit someone, you could get a bad result. So even if you hit someone, you roll badly on the under fire table, they could return fire at you, or they get to dive into cover. So there's all kind of variables, and it's a very, very simple way of. It doesn't necessarily mean you've been hit. You're gonna be knocked, staggered, or down, or what have you. And it does bring that element of sort of randomness and unpredictability to the shooting result, which I think is really good. It's not a foregone conclusion that just because you've hit something, it's gonna. Yeah. Cheers, Sam. Yeah. Don't. No. But no, it's just
it's what you like in a game, isn't it? Ultimately it comes down to what do you want out of it? Do you want to have just an absolute laughter fest and not really suspend the belief for a while and just throw some dice and have a bit of a laugh? Or do you want to play a grand tactical game where you're reenacting the Battle of Kursk in 6 mil and wondering, how you can change the history or what have you? It's and all the between, it's what you like.
What I find interesting though is it a relatively new thing? These sort of stripped down, streamlined rules. Where I think BattleMap mentioned it earlier that a lot of the emphasis is placed on the player if there is a missing rule. If there's an eventuality that isn't covered, it's down to do people like that? Do people think, well, I should be if I buy a rule book, I should naturally assume that every eventuality I'm going to come across in this game should be covered in that book. With a lot of streamlined rules, I don't think you're going to get that sort of coverage, that full 100% every rule boxed off and covered.
No, I agree. To me, though, it just seems like it's all down to the individual scenario, isn't it? It's like if we all say, for example, we all had the time and we had the figures already painted and already up, would you rather have a big, massive game, or would you rather have a smaller game with streamlined rules that ends quicker? I'd rather have a bigger game that takes longer. That's just my preference. I'd like to make a day of it. I'd like to make a whole day. So like we start in the morning, have some lunch, break for lunch, and then have some dinner, and then finish in the evening with a couple of beers. Like that'd be like ideal sort of game in heaven for me.
I can't. Like I say, with bolt action, once I've hit sort of around at the 3 hour mark, that's when I start losing concentration. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've got poor attention span or something. But I've noticed the past couple of times I've played bigger games of bolt actions. We're talking sort of 1250 to 1500 points. The game, once it gets to the 3 hour mark, 3.5 hour, I'm thinking
starting to get there.
It's starting to not great, but I just wish it was over. Which is why I like playing smaller games of bolt action.
I feel that way is in the first turn of bolt action. But that being said, we played that game of Conflict 47 on Ken's birthday. We played for 2.5 hours, and and that was brilliant. But again, I don't know if that would have been the same if I was just playing one, but that was because there were 4 of us playing. It was hilarious. There was
fucking polar bears.
There was polar bears punching people across the bridge.
Depends what it is, doesn't it? It's quite like the Napoleonic side of things, right? Yeah, like I say, in big game in Napoleonics. Because to me, I'm recreating a proper battle, because a Napoleonic battle would be fought during a day, wouldn't it? You'd have a day. You'd fight from dawn till dusk, into the evening. So to me, it's simulating that I've been the general for the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah. Like I said, I just think, maybe it's symbolic of sort of modern society that everyone's looking for that sort of the convenient, the quick, the easily digestible. And for me, I mean, this is why I mentioned in that I did a Facebook post there last week in the group saying that I want to start concentrating. What I want to do is eventually turn this desk into my play area for either a 2x2 or a 3x3 board. So I've not got to dismantle. I mean, I don't mind for bolt action with my mate, rearranging my living room. It's not a problem. But I wouldn't like to do it sort of every other night of the week. That really piss me off. It really would. But if I've got just a small area where I can just do a bit of solo gaming, 2 foot by 2 foot, 3 foot by 3 foot, even a kill team board, which is I think it's about 2 foot by 3 foot or something like that. It's still doable. And the big thank you to everyone that left suggestions, especially Paul. He rattled off about 1 million different games that would that would translate down to smaller scales. So I really, really appreciated that. It's good to know that there's games out there that can drop to that sort of the smaller tabletop scale, but still maintain a good level of play, a good level of complexity in those games. But no, I was interested to see Martin's take on Lion Rampant because I knew that he was.
I will play it. I will play it. I just, but it's like everyone, and I'm sure there's other people in there. And Paul's just said it now. You know, it's set out to do what the designer wanted to do, which was create a set of rules that were fun to play. They don't necessarily, you know, more like a film that don't really evoke the period. Unfortunately, but for me, the medieval period is something that I really, really like, and I don't feel for me that rule set really evokes it. You know, that's just me. That's me personally. I'm not saying that they're bad. It just doesn't do. For me, but for fantasy, but Xenos Rampant for sci-fi, it's absolutely fine. But there might be people who are really into, you know, really want like every single weapon stat and every, you know, all these different. But for me, because I'm happy to take a much lighter approach to like, you know, to sci-fi gaming, then you know what you know, that I'm happy. So again, it's just taste. Whereas you have a sci-fi player who just wants to paint up some knights and some longbowmen and just have a longbowman unit charge into some knights and kill them. Which is perfectly feasible in Lion Rampant, which drives me nuts.
Oops, we got him going again.
So there we go. Yes.
And not to belittle streamlined rules, but do you think? I know for Space Weirdos, it's impossible to take Space Weirdos. It's not a serious competitive game. I think it's one of those rule sets where you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy the over the top nature of the game. You know, I like I mentioned before, you know, spending 2 movements to leap over some barrels, then you can aim and you can shoot. So it's all about different actions, but it's so fast paced and it's a bit like Blood Bowl. It's like Blood Bowl's impossible to get angry playing, even if you're losing 10-0. You'll have had a good time because those rules are designed to be entertaining and fun. I mean, it's fantasy American football with violence and carnage. You cannot take that seriously. But again, I wouldn't exactly call Blood Bowl streamlined either. It's quite a complex.
Quite a complex game, Blood Bowl.
It is. It's the rules work though, so it is good. But now it's really interesting discussion. What we'll do is we'll do a bit of news, and then we'll come back and look at some of the comments from the viewers. Right, everybody. Yeah. Are we doing the video this week or not?
Nah, that takes some precious time.
Yeah, we got lots of news.
Yes, right. Crack on with the news, chaps.
Do you want to start or shall I?
You start.
I'll go first.
I'll start. What are you doing?
Hang on, Ken's got some news. Go for it.
I only had one piece of news and someone's already taken it, so there we go.
I put that one up for you if that's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, you can take that one, mate.
Right. So you might have mentioned this last week when I was not on, but there's another Kickstarter. This is that people I was saying about the STLs. So they're doing the Prussians now as well.
So that'll get James very excited.
Yes. So we've got all the Prussians. So they've got Fusiliers and the reserve that come in there, and they do a lot of stretch goals. So you're probably gonna get your Landwehr in there, obviously, but you're just waiting for that to come out. Normally when they do these, I've looked back in his previous Kickstarters, you can do add-ons to get the other files as well. Obviously they're 3D printed, but yeah, that's coming soon on Kickstarter. I gather you guys are mentioning the other one,
I've got that.
Yeah,
yeah, cool. All right, wicked. Yep. So that's a me so far. Thank you.
Fine, I'll do the next one because Dom's gonna. So yeah, the Danube campaign from Piano Miniatures is there, and we can't possibly show all of the pretty photos, but saved quite a few of the pretty photos. And I think we might have doubled up on a few here.
I think we might have done, mate. Sorry.
So anyway, all right, I'll wait this up. So here is your landing page. So go over on Kickstarter, type the Piano Wargames Danube campaign in there, and they vary from sort of €60 up to €90, depending on what you want, what you're backing, or you can do the
125. Some of them, mine.
Yeah,
one of them, if you want both.
Yeah, so because obviously he's already released a load of Austrians,
yes.
So I think you get access to those. I'm not going to sort of repeat a lot of what, because he went through a lot of it when he was on the stream, but go over and have a look. But again, some of the stuff on here is just phenomenal,
unbelievably good.
you know, really nice
that
stuff.
Devu model is just amazing.
Yeah.
He's got 2 heads. I've just noticed that.
He's got 2 options. One with glasses on, one without glasses on.
Oh, Christ on a bicycle.
It is absolutely awesome. He's also supplying free flags.
No, he's not, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that bit.
He only went live about an hour and a half ago. It's already been 5 updates. There you go.
So there's just some really nice stuff on here, like what we got here: Austrian command figures. I mean, check these out. It's just mad. It looks. I mean, I didn't realize that whole thing was one massive photo of what it was the individual strip. But so Austrian Empire, well represented. Lots and lots of different sculpts.
Guns.
They've got artillery. Again.
Artillery. Yeah.
I have also bought some French artillery. If you want me to print any
French, there's your favourites, Ken. French lights.
I know.
Lots and lots and lots of French lights. And then
it's nice to see the light infantry actually get its proper uniform, which is pretty cool.
And then this is one of the stretch goals, although I'm guessing this may have been unlocked while we've been on the stream.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very cool stuff. So go over there, have a look at it, and support Lucas if you're. I mean, it's just such good value, and he's doing them in metal again as well. He
is.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about the shipping costs and VAT increase, if you spend over £100 and something with him, he will take the VAT off your order. So you'll pay for it when it comes into. If you come into the UK, you'll pay the VAT on it, but he's already taken it off, so you don't pay twice, which is fantastic. It's really, really good. So I've been told. Not that I've ever done that. No, ever. Oops.
That's already raised 18k.
Yeah, I think this one is really
going to take off.
This is going to fly.
And then Don went and found everything else that I did, and then we've got a few CrackCon related things to do. So I'll let Don go.
Well, let's Steve do this one because he'll be excited about this one.
Yes. So I know there's been rumours about this for ages. So it's plastic Warlord Games bolt action plastic French with quite a few options on that sprue. I've been looking forward because I have actually got an early war French bolt action army, but it's all metal and I hate about 75% of it. So what I'm going to be doing is throwing away all of the infantry and replacing it with the plastic stuff. Because all the support options, they're not too bad, but the actual infantry, crap. I mean, they're old sculpts. They look bad. They got amorphous blobs for faces. They're diabolical. But these look really good. So all I'm going to have to do is four sections, and I've got my early war French back. But I know they're doing quite a few bundles as well. They're doing a massive bundle. It's £300.
Yeah,
and you get everything. So that's something that people have been waiting. I've been waiting a long time, and my hope now. No, I'm not.
He'll go so far, Nick. That's a stage too far. He won't do
now,
that.
If you'd put Napoleonic French starter army, yes, I could happily turn it one of those. But yeah, my hope is that with plastic early war French, the next one will be plastic British Expeditionary Force, because that would be awesome. Because I've always wanted a BEF army for bolt action, so I can do the main early war games, but I could also do Sea Lion and Gigant as well. So I really want to have BEF for that, but I'm not doing metal miniatures. So hopefully, it probably won't happen. But plastic BEF and an upgraded new plastic Blitzkrieg box for the Germans would be nice as well, because that other kit is older than God's dog. So we need. Oh, it still holds up compared to some of them. But yes, very happy with that.
Awesome. Other things out. I don't think we've featured. Is it Merliton? Italian
times. Yeah.
Okay. They're Italian, aren't they? Or I think they're Italy. They're 15mm manufacturing. They've got a whole really nice range of 15mm 14th century medievals. Really, really nice. There's some knights. some men at arms. I do like the guy on the right with the that helmet he's got. Really, really good. Spearmen, and there's a whole range of them. So if you're interested, check out their website. But I like that command group. Looks really good too. And these foot soldiers, just brilliant.
Very cool.
Love the guy with
nice.
the knife, with the dagger there. It's brilliant. So yeah, they're out and about. I know this caused a lot of moisture in the Facebook page, and these came out.
Just gonna
So Victrix is El Cid option. So it's basically the unarmored Normans, isn't it? With the instant options.
That's just they're showing off one of the ways to build them, which is as I sit here painting the armored versions.
So they look really, really cool. First Corps continue to do some really interesting little scenic groups. So this is ACW Camp Scene, which I really like. I think that's really nice. Bit of scenery around the table. And these are some Second World War Russian anti-tank guns, which I think are really sweet as well. Really good. So that's First Corps. I think there was some more. I did see some severed heads, but I'm not sure what they were for. And I think they've fallen off here. So that was probably a reference.
I saw them go up in a couple of groups, and it caused a little bit. Some people seemed to get very upset about them because on a couple of groups where people said, "I'm going to use these as casualty markers," but dice, and someone essentially wrote, "Not on my table." But, okay.
I mean, people have some weird ideas, but whatever. They were here, but I think it's dropped off in our picture censorship mode. And also, finally, Reconquer. These are the October so far.
Yeah.
This
so
is
these are
Alfonso the Ninth. Is that right? And his retinue, I believe.
they got these like Spanish bagpipers on there, which is nuts. So so they've just he's sort of moving forward in time a little bit with what he's doing. But it's really cool. I love that guy. So you got Alfonso's the guy there. That shield is based. If you have a look on his Patreon or his Facebook page, he puts all of his references for everything he's doing on there. So you can see where he got the reference from the shield, from the manuscript he was looking at. I love that guy there. He's got just his hand on the other guy's shoulder as they're riding. It's just very cool. But that would be a lovely command base,
wouldn't it just?
Massive. But
so there you go. I think that was it, apart from the CrackCon stuff. Do you
want yes.
Okay, so if I'll start, because I don't have a picture to show. I'm hoping Dom has something in a minute, actually, because there should be a video, I hope.
Do you want me to play that now?
Well, I'll just quickly give an update on the dice.
Okay.
Now, the dice are on the way. But I don't have a picture yet until they arrive. Those of you who have been before, the dice you got the same design. We just got a brand new color. So we will, if people are interested in the dice, then obviously you can get in touch with us. They are on. We sort of have a more limited number this time because we've had to do one giant order. So we've got a massive load of dice. So they are going to be on a first come first serve basis. But everyone coming to CrackCon will receive a dice, and then after CrackCon, of course, we will do what we did before, and we will bring in more.
Once we've got a bit more time to get them in.
Dave just said very quickly, don't forget the Order of the Hatchet. He showed those off. We showed those off last week. But there is the Order of the Hatchet, which is all the female minis as well, which again I'm thinking of adding in as pilgrims, just chucking some of them in there. So the dice will be there, and also after CrackCon we will of course be doing this year's PCP dice. But Dom's been ferreting away, haven't you?
Sounds a bit scary. Scary. Okay, so have a quick advert first, and then we'll do this. Tea tastes better in the right kind of mug, doesn't it? I feel embarrassed just playing that.
Oh my god!
So
the Crackcon mug.
Which the PCP, the Crackcon PCP mug, which Dom been through a few designs.
Feel mugged.
So
that was Yorkshire.
No, it's Typhoon.
Oh,
it was neat whiskey to do that. Jesus,
fighting talk.
So they will be. Those will be available again on a first come first serve basis, and if people like them, then we may do some more. So shall I put up? So should I put up the thingy?
Go for it.
So with the dice sets will be the same as before, which is £7.50. The mugs are £10, and you can get both together for £15. It's saving you £2.50.
And all the proceeds go to charity.
And just as a reminder, just in case anyone can't remember what the charity is, this year we are backing the fellow YouTuber and an all-round awesome guy, Cal Brush and Quill. He's doing the marathon this year, and he's doing it in support of WizKids, which is a charity which works on behalf of young wheelchair users, and it's basically about getting them into sort of clubs and programs, but also helping work with them for things like employability skills, corporate stuff, organizational stuff, and basically just setting them up with more skills and more things to get them out a little bit, but also just doing some just stuff like awesome activities and things with them. If you head over to Brush and Quill's page, you can find a video on it there. So essentially what we're going to do is each year we pick a charity, and this year that's the charity that we've picked. He is doing the marathon. So there's obviously Cal is a wheelchair user himself, and he's doing the marathon, and this will go to support that massive effort that he's making, which is awesome. So that will be this year's charity, and all the proceeds of all of this, the Crackcon tickets, so all of the stuff that's left over, the t-shirt sales, the mugs, the dice, everything, that all goes to our chosen charity, which this year is WizKids. So
although I think we ought to take some money out to pay for some new glasses for Gary. I mean, come on, mate, no chance.
So what we'll do, John says the order link. No, it's very simply the orders are done for these. Well, I'll put a post up in the Facebook page, and it's an email order. So if you email him, we'll confirm how many dice sets people want and what they want, and then essentially the PayPal invoice is sent, which is the same as the other ones. If these are successful and if people do want them, then we'll do more of them. But it's just a little. Are we
limited dice sets per person?
It's at the moment with dice sets, it's a maximum of 2 per person. First come, first served.
6 in a set, Martin, yeah.
6 in a set. 6 dice a set, yeah. First come, first served. Maximum of 2 sets per person. But once we've had Crackcon, if people want more of the dice sets, then they are available. Of course, you might want to wait a couple of weeks till you can actually see the dice. But if anyone does want to get in there,
Martin's been getting grey hair trying to deal with the dice man who's been on holiday forever.
Well, he's been on paternity.
Oh, paternity!
Bless him. So I feel his. We've already had an email from someone that's just come up on the phone.
Oh, for goodness sake!
Can I just say that the dice do come with a disclaimer that if they roll crap like my PCP dice, no refunds.
Yeah.
Yes, Mark. After the event, we will send out afterwards. We'll do Crackcon first, and then after that, any other orders. Just because the hassle of getting it all sorted out is
prior to
makes it
Crackcon.
easier. So once Crackcon's out the way, definitely be mail order. We'll just have to work out how to ship these things without breaking them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But a perfect dice rolling mug.
Absolutely.
Oh yes.
And you can wash your brushes in it. You can put beer in it.
You can stick tufts to it as well if you want.
Yeah. No.
We'd shit it up.
Absolutely. Gonna shit it up. Okay.
Right. With
anyway,
20 minutes left, let's run through some comments.
Hey?
20 minutes left.
How the hell is there only 20 minutes left?
I don't know.
Us actually stuff and you didn't. That's why.
We've fair flown through it. Right, so battle map. Here we go. Start with good intentions, minimal rules. Can't stop myself adding house rules.
Yeah,
that's a thing. I've already put a house rule in for Space Weirdos as well. But
so is that the definition of when light is too light? If you have to put your own house rules on it?
No, the only one I've introduced is because if I play it, I have, if you're hit on a higher level, you got to test whether you fall off or not. It's the only one that I've brought into it.
I like that really.
Oh, that needs at least another page.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Rule, yes. Engage
starts.
right there. Rules heavy.
Printing
Battle
cost.
tech. I would definitely say the battle tech is rules heavy. In fact, I'd say it's very, very rules heavy from my memory of it. Little legions. The older I get, the lighter the rules are for me. Yeah. Well, yes. This is an interesting one from Rich. Grimdark is a great way to get your old 40k stuff back on the table. I know lots of people have said that. They've got their 40k figures, but they don't actually play 40k with them anymore. They are using Grimdark Future or any game like that, really.
Doesn't that violate your contract with GW? Is there something in there when you buy the figures from them? There's a little bit of a small print in the box.
Well, like my story the week when the guy in the Games Workshop store asked me if I needed any paints, and I said no, I use Vallejo, and yeah, it was terrible. It was like a part of his soul fell out of his nose right in front of me. It was terrible.
Did they frog march you out the shop?
No. I'd like to have seen him try. H1 from 10, the recent World Cup of rules to prove what people like, somewhere in between what I'm suggesting. Yeah, it was good to see Chain of Command won that. The Archer Gamer World Cup of rules, Chain of Command won. So I mentioned this earlier, what Robin said. Why does rules light also seem to translate to skirmish gaming? That's true. It is true. Like Dom said, you're not gonna recreate the Battle of Austerlitz in 4 pages of rules, are you? Really, it's not gonna.
Not really.
No. It's an interesting one. Greater level, yeah, absolutely. Greater levels of abstraction. For limit time, it's okay, but logically, you end up back to the original war game chess. It's true. You're in a especially with Space Waders, you're not going to cram. I mean, you could make Space Waders a 30-page rule, but it would lose its charm. For me, it would lose why I like it so much. Off Malik's, yeah. They're also easy to hold in your head after a couple of turns, which he describes as rules light. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. What else we got? Benjamin. One aspect that has to be taken into account is how important simplified rules and fast play rules are getting for new players into the hobby. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if people sat down and played, a couple of games of Space Weirdos, they'd like it, and they might want to start, painting figures and then looking at other rule sets. I think it's a great. I mean, it's a great game in itself, but I think as an entry game, it'd be absolutely perfect. Introducing someone to sci-fi gaming.
It's true. I wonder also whether we talk about how the hobby's kind of in a good place at the moment, whether that is symptomatic of the fact there are a lot of rule systems that are pretty easy to pick up. After a game or two, pretty much what you're doing. Whereas I remember you had to persist back in the day with a rule set. You had to really persist. So you had to be really dedicated.
My only thing about that would say though, but obviously the most popular game is still 40k.
Yes.
But that's by far the most popular war game. I mean, GW we've talked about it's its own hobby. So I don't think people are that put off by it. I'd say the same about role playing games as well. They've got rule books that are like that.
Oh yeah.
People so I think I think yes, absolutely. I think some people would be put off, but I think also equal numbers of people are intrigued and like it. So
yeah. That's an interesting question from Matt. So is shorter and simpler games a symptom of the wargaming community just increasing in size? It used to belong to the wealthier with dedicated rooms. Now rules can cater to everyone. I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Here's one from Rich. He's been gaming for 40 years, not played a Napoleonic war game. He's going to close the door behind him.
Get out of here now. Go. Just go.
So we've got another advocate for Space Weirdo. Space Weirdo is an elegance to the simplicity. Even the maths of why you use D4 to D12 but not D20 is interesting. Yes, if you look at it, I look at a review of Space Weirdos, and someone had done. It was like a thesis on dice rolls and why it works. It was an immense piece of work. Not something I could do with my limited math skills.
That's the theory with badgers and burrows, isn't it? Different sized creatures have different dice, which I kind of like as a mechanic. I think it's an interesting one.
This one from Martin. Have you seen the Wars of the Roses rules, Blood and Horse droppings?
I have them. I've downloaded them. I've not played them or read them yet.
Well, yeah, it's free download.
They're on the pile.
Interesting from Simon. So, like rules like mayflies, they come and go very quickly. Good at first, but not enough depth to keep you coming back to them. Yes, I would think even if something's rules light, it's got to have some oomph to it. It's got to have something that's going to make you
brings you back.
Continue to want to play. I think you can write the most streamlined rules light, entertaining rules, but if it hasn't got any sort of sustainability or there's nothing there that's going to keep you playing, it's you're going to play a couple of games, it's going to flitter away. So yeah, absolutely agree with that.
Well, also with how competitive the market is, how many rule systems there are, it's not going to last if they're not fun. If they aren't entertaining enough to bring you back, then they're going to lose.
Yes. I can't remember the last game that I played and thought I won't be playing that ever again. I really can't remember.
I can.
What? You
didn't even need to.
You didn't even need to ask that one, do you?
No.
Four letters, and yeah, we won't go there.
And the last one for Mark. You're gonna have to consider changing to a 3-hour stream.
Yes, I did see someone say PCP light versus PCP heavy.
I'm getting old. I need a cup of coffee after 2 hours, or otherwise I'm not going to function for the rest of the night. I thought it was really interesting. Some great views, and it'd be interesting to review this again in a year's time to see how many more sort of these light rules have come out or streamlined rules have come out.
I think it's just going to do what fashion does and just goes in a circle. I think we're going to be like this for maybe another 5 years, maybe 5 years, 10 years, and then all of a sudden, everyone's going to want to play big war games again. And that'll be the thing.
Is someone going to commit sacrilege and do a 1-page rule set for Napoleonics?
Even I can't deal with that. You just might as well play a board game.
Yeah.
Do you think that's? I don't know what I was going to try to say. Do you think that's the period that you're playing? So with Napoleonics, massive battlefields. Same with sort of American Civil War, and the bigger. Do you think they lend themselves more towards the more heavier rule set?
Yeah.
I don't know about heavier. I think it's the nature. If you are a Napoleonic gamer or or any kind of massed battle gamer, it's that appeal of recreating, even if you're not actually refighting the battle, but recreating the look and the feel of a big engagement, lots of battalions rolling forward, playing a Second World War game where there's tank squadrons flying around the table and all that kind of, that's what gets you excited. And so I don't think necessarily the rules. I think what's made it more easy to handle is that the rules are so much easier, even with what you'd call a heavy rule set. It's not really that heavy, and you can play those sort of games relatively easily if you've got time and space, that is, or depending on scale, I suppose. But I don't know. I think that will never go away. If you're into that sort of thing, you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah, right? I think once it grabs you.
Yeah.
I know, Dom, you love your big games, don't you? And
it's nothing better for me. Now, that doesn't mean I don't I do enjoy skirmish games and smaller scale games as well. But for me, that's the pinnacle when I get all the toys out on the table. That's perfect.
I know Steve from Basement 1809. He certainly doesn't do small games. I give him that.
Nope. Nope. He does
if you,
not.
You need to check if you like big games. Check out Basement 1809.
He's a madman. He's even made skirmishy type games into big games. It's like, for goodness sake,
some of his Napoleonic games are just. I just look at the amount of Napoleonic figures on those tables, and I'm like that. Oh,
what's even more crazy? He's painted them all in about a fortnight. It's extraordinary.
Again, I remain massively jealous of people like that. Right, with 10 minutes to go, let's look at some of what people have been posting up on the Facebook group. As always, if you're not a member of the Facebook group, there is a link in the description below. Once you womble across there, answer Dom's questions 3, and ye be admitted into the hallowed group. If Dom is on a lunch break, you might get in because
these three are sloppy as hell and they'll let anybody in.
Someone thanked us for the ad the other day, and I put, yes, you answered Dom's questions 3 correct.
Yeah.
Listen, I stopped somebody who was definitely a real keen war gamer from Nigeria, who was apparently had some kind of goodness to give us through the email. So it was so be careful out there who you let in.
It could have been a balls action player. Right, let's start off with some. We got Christopher. I think these are French. Start off with a bit of Napoleonics. Look at them.
Oh, they are great. That's a proper plume.
Oh, they are naughty. They're nice yellow.
I was going to say that's a cracking yellow. I couldn't paint that yellow. Ugh. They're lovely though. Which manufacturer are they?
In metal?
They look like they're metals, don't they?
They look metals, yeah.
Yeah, I think they might. Are they Perry's? They're French, so I'm not entirely sure.
No, I'm not too sure. Either way, Christopher, cracking work. I think the next one from Craig will fall under the weird shit phrase. We've got dwarfs riding bears.
Excellent. What's not to love about that?
What's not to love about that? Exactly. They're fantastic. They're just so
awesome.
strange. I just really like them.
They are very, very
really,
cool.
really good. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I think I need to own some of those just for reasons best known to myself. Up next is Andy. These are brilliant. Now these have been sculpted by a friend of the channel, Paul Hicks, and we have James Holland and Al Murray.
Oh yeah. They were the limited edition figures, weren't they?
Look at it.
Yeah, brilliant.
They're brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Nice Piet sculpt, actually.
Very cool.
I love the Denizen camo smock as well that Andy's done. Really, really good
nice,
stuff.
Isn't it?
But yeah,
he's got the beret right as well, color-wise.
Yes, but again, I mean, when doesn't Paul do cracking sculpt? Every time a sculpt comes up that Paul's done, it's like, yeah, it's a cracking sculpt because that's all he does. He doesn't do any bad ones. He just does cracking ones instead.
Paul Hicks. There you go. Hey.
So, staying with World War II, we got Dan and some US infantry for bolt action. Look at those.
Very nice.
They're good. Ooh, very nice.
Really like the colours.
Yes, I like they look realistic. That's the thing that they look really real. That's it's not new anymore, but no, the new American infantry box. Lovely box, fantastic box. And Dan, you've certainly done it justice there because they are really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
There's from Edward. Now, Edward's been getting his boys into gaming, and he's invented his own game called Little Plastic Men. Look at that!
Oh yes, this was awesome.
Brilliant.
This was awesome.
Absolutely brilliant.
They're running to the top, aren't they? And then next thing, adds combat mechanics, then morale system, then campaign, then obviously then it's not rules light anymore.
Then it'll be on version 2 with a rewrite.
Absolutely. Stat cards, event deck, specialist dice. No, it looked awesome. I just thought it was really nice just to see.
It does look really good. Great way of getting kids into the hobby. Brilliant. Right, I think we're gonna crank up the weird shit now by about 10 levels. Dom, are you ready? Jason's been painting what I think they're frogs, but I just described them as things.
Oh yeah, I saw these. These are cool.
Oh yeah.
What the
Fucking
bajimity
cool,
are they?
They'd be cool in a little. They'd be cool in a lizardmen army.
They're brilliant. They are just. It's just something about them. They make me laugh. They're just so cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Is it wrong to say they're kind of sweet?
They are. They are. They're really cool.
Okay.
I like that.
They're kind of sweet.
Up next, bit of work in progress from Justin. Now, Justin, if you're not subscribed to Justin's channel, the Miniature Painter, he does so much work, so much good work, and he's so prolific in his painting. He's jumping across all. He's even on to turn 28 these days as well. So obviously a good egg. He's been working on some Flags of War stuff. So this is
oh nice,
a Jacobite from Flags of War. I think the contrast he's got between the red and the white there is brilliant. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
That is awesome.
But I'm looking forward to Justin. He's prolific. He
does, and he jumps around periods all over the
Yes.
place. But the one consistent thing is they're always brilliant.
They're always really good.
Wow.
So I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully, he'll do a video about these because I'd like to see a lot more of those. Up next, again. Slightly weird. I know Lewis is. He's only just joined the Facebook group, although he's been watching the podcast for a while. And he posted his Tyrannid Horde. Look at that! Wow.
Oh, cool.
Timey.
Oh, bloody! They're new ones as well, aren't they? So,
Yes.
Yeah, that was really nice.
They're just awesome. Very gribbly looking. Very, very gribbly.
That's what I like. I like big slimy Tyrannids.
Yeah. Especially
Very nice.
The big
me a little
evil.
bit of the Covenant from Halo. I don't know why.
I wasn't really a Halo player.
I played it. They just remind me of it a little bit.
They're really nice.
But no, they're brilliant. So, now, I mentioned it before. Now, we're all going to, anyone that's going to CrackCon is going to have the privilege of seeing these in the flesh. So these are the Duke of Monmouth Rebels that Paul's been working on. Feast your eyes on these boys. Just look at them.
I know, but this doesn't. Just go and have a look at Paul's post because we've only put up the one picky, but go and have a look at his post.
Oh, look at those!
Yeah, that's just one side. Yeah, no, you go and have a look at those, and if you have a look at some of the units where each one has got its own individual colours, they look fantastic, colourful. It's just gonna be brilliant. I cannot wait. I will be just abandoning my game at some point.
I will admit, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing the game that Paul's doing. Looks really, really good. But yeah, like Martin said, if you're in the Facebook group, check out the entire post. Just so much good stuff from Paul's. Unbelievable. Another Paul's up now with some more Wars of the Roses. Check these out. Look at them.
This was his Richard III Retuin stuff. He wanted to put up a this collage picture sort of work he'd done at all the faces, and his wife's hair again featuring heavily on the bows. But yeah, no,
love hair. Shut up.
Yeah,
serious.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. If you find it,
every game.
if you get the latest issue of Wargames Illustrated, you'll see how he did it. There'll potentially be a picture of another miniature in there that he did it on.
Oh God, not those again. Yawn.
So up next is Robin with a 10mm Soviet armor. Look at that.
Oh,
that is serious trouser fire.
When he sent a picture of that, I think because he sent it on our little group, and I thought that they were big. I didn't realize they were 10.
Yeah,
I thought
they
were like 28,
20
They
minutes.
look 28, don't they? I thought maybe there'll be 15s, but then 10.
No.
Wow,
Fantastic.
Wow,
really,
A lot of detail
really
for 10, isn't it?
yeah.
Are they Pendraken?
No, I think they're prints because.
Right, okay.
Now,
so
he's got one as well. Is it the bug just catching? Is it?
Oh, here we go.
These are from Ross. These are Burrows and Badgers. I think he also said once these are done, he's putting another order. If that happens, I better warn everyone. If you ever sit down and paint Burrows and Badgers miniatures, once they're finished, you'll be ordering more the next day. That's what happens to me. It's just one of those things. But fantastic work. I love the Mouseketeer that he's done there. Look at the blue on the Mouseketeer at the back.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's cool.
Lovely
Brilliant.
stuff. Up next is Steve with a bit of Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Oh, nice.
Carnage.
I know.
I love Carnage. Oh, Mysterio. Okay, yeah, they're cool. But again, this is dangerous for me.
It is dangerous.
I was lingering over something the other day where that's Carnage.
No good. Oh, Carnage. Okay.
On the right.
No, the one in the middle. Tongue.
Oh, in the middle. Oh, yeah. That's better. Yeah. Sorry, I was looking. I couldn't even notice it. I was too busy looking at Carnage.
He likes fucking. I don't care about anything else.
Only got eyes for Carnage.
I'm still surprised I've not relented yet and ended up buying. I'm going to get stabbed.
Yeah, I wouldn't try and get Laura.
I wouldn't try it if that's what the outcome's going to be. You can always blame Paul. Now, it had to happen. Steve Harbour.
Oh, for
Turnip 28.
Fucking yeah.
Yes.
Done it.
Just
look at those
look at
beautiful
that
Napoleonics he's fucked up. Oh shit!
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's seriously muddy bases, isn't it? I like that.
Well, that's turnip. It's mud. It's like I said in the robot, peasants kicking each other to death in the mud. There's mud. And tell you what, we've had 3 Steves in a row here. We've had Steve, and now Stephen. Great name. This is Stephen. This is his first ever Space Marine. That is fantastic.
Oh, I love this. I did the weathering on this.
Yeah, brilliant.
It was awesome.
Very good, isn't it?
That is amazing.
This is why when I see Space Marines with like sort of muted or more realistic colours, I think they are better than the gaudily coloured ones. And don't get me started.
I do like something about second editions.
Yeah. And don't get me started on the real Space Wolves colour either. Some more boroughs and badges from Stuart.
Yeah.
Crossbow.
Yes.
I like the crossbow one. I've got it.
Yes, that's
Brilliant.
a fantastic model. That.
Is that the mage? That's the mage serpent as well, isn't it?
It's an Adam Mage and
that is nice.
And a weasel crossbowman.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, Stuart went out and bought some of the battle systems scenery that I was talking about, and it works really well with Boroughs and Badgers.
That's a good thought.
And up last, because his name always starts with W, is Warren and some dwarfs. Look at them.
Where are they from?
3D printed.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Drink.
I love it. Every week, just getting more and more people are coming to the dark side.
What we really need is a YouTube channel that would help us out with that.
Yeah.
Who kind of started strong with content and
then found out my wife's pregnant, which is pain in my ass. In the nicest possible way, love. I love you.
As always, big thank you to everybody that posted up in the Facebook group. I say it every time, but I absolutely love the Facebook group just to see what everyone's working on. So the diversity of the different projects and the quality, and it's honestly it's the I'm not going to a bit of hyperbole here. The best group on Facebook. It really is.
We are.
Fantastic community spirit, and I just think it's a great place. I know if I'm at work, I'm having a coffee, I'll always go on the Facebook group to see what people have been posting. It's just a fantastic way of really demonstrating and even asking for help. It's just get yourself along there. Great group. Right, we're into overtime. 4 minutes overtime.
Oh my goodness!
What is going on here?
Steve,
so
get some control, mate.
Some control. So next, we're back next week. What's the?
It's Ken. But let's see if Ken can remember what his topic was without looking at it.
Green painted figures. Fuck you.
Yeah. So next week is Ken, 3D Wargamer, or whatever he might be called next week.
Wargamer.
Pre-painted figures, are they just for board games? So interesting. You did that on purpose, didn't you? That's a controversial subject, actually. You did that on purpose.
But what he's going to do this time is he's going to put the stream up during the week and he's going to get the photos. Aren't you, Ken?
Yeah.
Aren't you? So yeah, remember it's on Ken's channel next week.
Yeah,
You might have to hunt for
Yeah.
it, whatever it's called. Have a hunt for it.
Yeah, 3D Wargamer 3D.
I did have about 3 people say I tried to come on the stream, but I didn't know what channel it was. So, well, none of us do.
none of us do.
Even
before
Ken.
we go, last reminder: we are sponsored by the chaps at Boards and Swords. Womble across there. Use the code PCP5 for an additional 5% off your order. Great stock, and if you can't find what you want, drop them an email and they'll certainly look it up for you.
Yes,
because that's just the way they are very helpful. Big thank you to everyone again that's watching this on the catch up. If you like it, leave a comment, leave a like. Oh, I'm doing the millennial thing again.
It's off again.
I'm millennial. It's good.
Damn it!
At least you're not doing a Gen Z thing.
It's not.
That could be even worse.
He
wouldn't even be here.
Oh.
No, technically, aren't I Generation Z?
No, you're not.
No, you're Gen X.
Yeah,
oh, sorry, Generation X.
You don't want to be Z.
No, Billy Idol. That's what. Yeah, I've got it.
Gen BC, me.
I've got it all sorted.
SPQR, indeed.
Definitely shutting down the stream on that one.
Right. There we go.
Right. Big thank you. 6 minutes to overtime. It's shocking. Right. Big thank you to everyone that joined us. Really did appreciate it. Great to have you with us. Enjoy the rest of your week. Keep posting in the Facebook group, and we'll see you all on Ken's channel next Monday. See you, everyone.
Hasta la vista.
Bye.